Hello everyone, I am Nehal from WsCubeTech, and in this video we are going to talk about the categorical plots in Seaborn. So I am over here at my Jupyter notebook over here, and what I will simply do is I will just import my library. So I will just say import Seaborn as SNS. Alright. And once I have done with this, now the next step over here is that I just want to load the data set over here. Okay, and we are going to just use the inbuilt data set that is available in our Seaborn library. So what I will simply do over here is that I will just say sns dot load dataset, and over here I need to pass the name of the dataset, that is tips, and I will just store this inside a variable name, that is tips, and I will just run this thing. And once done with this, now I just want the head over here, the topmost rows over here. So what I will simply do is I will just say that tips dot head. Okay, and this will just give me the result that I'm looking for. So this is my data, and I just want to use this data in order to just plot my data over here. So we are just talking about the categorical plots over here. So I just want to let you guys know that what is meant by categorical. Okay, so categorical is nothing but those columns which are non-numeric. Okay, so say for example in this particular data set over here, so the categorical columns over here is nothing but this is the sex over here, then we have the smoker column over here, then we have day, then we have time. Okay, so these are nothing but this is our categorical columns over here. Okay, that is non-numerical over here, and that is what we are going to plot. So now in categorical plots there are different types of categorical plots over here, so we are going to see all of them in detail. So we will just start with the first categorical plot, that is the bar plot over here. Now in order to just plot that thing, what we need to do is we need to say that sns dot bar, and this is our bar plot over here. And inside this you need to pass the arguments as x is equal to, then y is equal to, and then your data is equal to. Okay, so let's just pass the values over here. So data is nothing but it is our tip, so I'm just going to say this tips over here. Okay, and over here you need to pass here two variables over here, okay, that you need to pass, that is on the x-axis and on the y-axis over here. So first what we are seeing, it is about the bar plot over here, right? So in this thing over here, what we are going to do is we are going to take one data as the categorical data, and the another data we are going to take as the non-categorical, that is the numerical column we are going to take. So I will just let you guys know with the help of this example, like what I just want to mean what I just said over here. So over here what I will simply do is I will just say that let my x on the x I just want this sex column over here, and over my y I will just take as the non-categorical over here, so I will just take it as the total bill. Okay, and if I just run this thing over here, so you are going to see this is nothing but this is our bar plot over here. All right, so you can see over here at the x-axis over here, so this is nothing but this is our gender over here. All right, and on the y-axis this is nothing but this is our total bill. So I just want to let you guys know that here we have this estimator argument also over here. Now estimator by default in this bar plot is nothing but it is the mean over here. So what I just want to let you guys know that this total bill is nothing but it is the mean over here. So it is just that it is a total mean, or you can just call it the average of the total bill with respect to the each categorical plot over here. So by default it is nothing but the estimator is set as a mean over here. If I just come up over here and if I just show you this thing, if I just do shift tab over here, so you can just see this thing over here. Okay, so this was about the x-axis, then y-axis, then over here you are seeing this estimator. So it has already set to mean by default, as I said you guys. All right, now what if you just want to change this thing, if you just want to go with the another functions over here? So you can just, what you can simply do over here, you can just import the numpy library over here. So what I'm simply going to do is I will just say import numpy as np. That's it. And over here I'm just going to change the estimator value over here. So what I will do is I will just say estimator, and over here I will just say np dot, and let's say I just want as the median. All right, And if I just run this thing over here, so now you are seeing this is nothing but this is the median, okay. So this is the median of the total bills with respect to the each category over here, that is the male with respect to the male and with respect to the female over here. So this is about the median over here, and for that purpose we are making use of the NumPy libraries that we have already covered. All right. You can even give here if you just want to go with the standard deviation, okay. So what you need to do is you just say that np.std over here, and if I just run this thing over here, so now this is nothing but this is a standard deviation of the total bills with respect to the males and with respect to the females over here. All right. So this was about the bar plot over here. So the next plot that we have over here is the count plot, okay. And this is basically same as the bar plot over here, but the difference over here is that it will just count the number of occurrence, okay. And here in this case, as I said, that it will just count the number of occurrence. So the estimator value will be explicitly, it will be counting the number of occurrence, and that is why we are going to just pass the single data set over here, and we are going to just explore this thing practically. So what I'm simply going to do over here is that I will just say SNS dot, and I will just say count plot, okay. So I got this count plot over here, and I will just say that let my x be is equal to let it be my sex over here, okay. And over here what I will simply do is I will just pass the data over here. So my data is nothing but it is the tips over here, and if I just run this thing, so you can see this thing, okay. So this is just same as the bar plot that we just plotted over here, okay. Only the difference over here is that on the y-axis, as you can see, that it has taken this count. So it is just counting the number of males and females, all right. And if I just let you guys know over here, so what I'm simply going to do is I will just say that tips, and in the square bracket I will just say that sex, and I will just say that, so I will just say tips in the square bracket sex, and I will just say that value counts. And over here what I will simply do is I will just run this thing. So you can see this. So you can see that we have this male, so the counts are 157. So the males over here is that 157 over here, and the females over here you can see it is 87, okay. So it is here 87 over here. So this is all about the count plot over here, okay, and it basically takes this one argument over here, and that will be plotted on the x-axis, and on the y-axis we have this count over here, and it is just counting the number of occurrences over here, okay. And I even show you guys that how you can just simply make use of this value count over here, okay. Now as you can see over here that on the x-axis we have this sex over here, okay. So you can just, even if you just want this on the y-axis, so you can do that thing as well. So if I just run this thing, so you can see that, so if you just observe over here, so we got this this gender over the y-axis and this particular count on the x-axis over here. All right, so I will just make it to default over here, okay. So I will just say that let this be on my x-axis. All right, and moreover to here, you can even pass here the another argument over here, that is the hue. So what you can just simply do over here, that if I just look at my data over here, okay, so I can just pass this day or time over here, okay. So let's first type here as day over here, and if I just run this thing over here, so you can see over here, okay. So this is nothing but our count plot over here, and you can see over here that this is the legend over here, and it says that on Thursday. So just observe over here. So on Thursday the number of males count you are getting, then on Friday this is the Friday number of counts, okay. Then you can see that on Saturday the count is much higher, okay, of the male category I am just talking about, okay. That is, and at the last on Sunday also it is somewhat nearby only with respect to Saturday. The counts are there is only the slightly difference over here, okay. And if you just compare with the female aspect over here, so you can see this on Thursday this blue color over here, so it is somewhat over here, that is 31 32 something over here, okay. Then this orange color, that is on Friday, it is somewhat over here. So this is how you can just with the help of this hue over here, you can just get this count over here, okay. You can simply even just plot over here, like I was just plotting about the day, okay. So you can just plot this time as well over here. So if I just say that instead of day, if I just give it as time over here, now you can see that with respect to the time, that is lunch and dinner. So you can just observe over here that the number of males over here, so the lunch that they took, okay, the timing, the lunch that they took, so the count is somewhat over here. And they are having dinner, okay, so the maximum number of males are having dinner over here, so that is the count. And you can just compare this with the female as well. So this is about the count plot over here, okay. We'll move ahead towards our next plot over here. So that is nothing but that is the box plot over here. So what I will simply do is I will just say that SNS dot, and I will just say box plot, and over here I will just pass these arguments over here. So I will just say that x is equal to y is equal to and the data itself, okay, and I will just pass the data as tips and the x and y columns over here. So let's take the x as the gender itself over here, and let's take this as the total bill, okay. And if I just run this thing over here, so we are going to get a box plot, okay. So this is nothing but this is the box plot over here, okay. So on the x axis we have got this gender over here, and over this y axis we have this total bills. And you can see this box plot over here, okay. This is nothing but this is a box plot. So we'll just understand this thing. So this dot that you are seeing over here, this is nothing but this is the outliners over here, okay. And in this we have this percentile over here, okay. So we can see this thing over here. So this is our minimum over here, then this is our maximum, then we have 25 percentile, then we have 50 percentile, and we have this 75 percentile over here. So this is nothing but this is the box plot over here. So the next plot that we have over here is nothing but it is the violin plot. So what I will simply do is I will just say SNS dot, and I will just say violin plot, and over here I will just pass this x is equal to, let it be my sex over here, then we have this y is equal to say total bills, then the data over here, okay. So data is nothing but this is a tips over here. And if I just run this thing, so you can see that this is nothing but this is a violin plot. Now this, what makes it different from the box plot over here is that you can just observe over here that this is the rotated plot at each end over here. And if you just observe this thing over here, so the thing that makes this violin plot different with the with respect to the box plot over here is nothing but you can just see that it is rotated plot from each side, okay. So the thing over here is that you can just plot this violin plot over here, okay. And suppose that I just change up this value, suppose that I make it as smoker over here, okay. So at the x axis I want this smoker to be plotted, and if I just run this thing, so you can just see over here that it says that yes and no over here, okay. So it is just saying that this many are smokers and this many are non-smokers. Now if you just want to differentiate between this, like how many these are females and how many are the males over here, so what you can just simply do over here is you can just pass another argument over here is that you, and you just pass here as the sex over here. And if you just run this thing over here, so now you got this legend over here, and this simply says that this, you can see this blue color over here. So this many are the males over here, okay, the smokers one, and this many females are there that are the females, that is the smoker ones. And here you can just see that this many of males are non-smoker and this many of females are non-smoker over here. So this is how you can just plot this violin plot over here, okay. So the next plot that we have over here is the strip plot. So what I'm simply going to do is I will just say SNS dot, and I will just say strip plot, and over here I need to pass my x argument, then y argument, and the data over here, okay. So my data is tips over here, and let's say that on the x axis I want to just plot the sex, and on the y axis I want to plot the total bills, and over here I will just run this thing. So you can see that this is all about the strip plot over here, and this is the scattered plot over here with respect to this each category over here, that is male and female over here. So you can just observe this. So on the x axis we have the sex, that is male and the female, and on the y axis we have this total bills over here. And this is nothing but this is a scatter plot that we have with respect to the each category over here, okay. And similarly you can just pass here the hue, another argument over here. So if I just want to plot the hue as say day, okay, and if I just run this thing over here, so you can just observe over here. So we got this the strip plot over here. So it becomes quite easy to just understand this thing. So you can just refer this legend over here. So you can just observe these things over here. So uh, this gives you a quite nice representation of the data that you are just want to just visualize. So you can just observe this thing, and now you can just see that these are there are a number of dots over here because our categories are more in respect to the day. If I just come up over here and if I just say that smoker, so there we are going to get only the two categories, right? That is whether a person is a smoker or a not a smoker. So you can just observe over here. So in case of male, the blue dots just represent those are just smokers, and the orange color, it just denotes that those are non-smoker over here. And that exactly the same with the female over here. So the blue dots here just represent that this many of females are smoker, and the orange color just denotes that this many of females are non-smoker over here. So the next plot that we have over here is the swan plot. So what I will simply do is I will just say SNS dot and I will just say swan plot, and over here I need to pass the arguments. Okay, so x is equal to, then I will have to pass the y is equal to, then the data is equal to, and say the data we are having is tips over here. And over here now I just want to mention, like, on the x-axis what column I want, and on the y-axis what I want. So say for example we will just take the same these column names over here. So say that let the x be the sex over here, and the y over here let we take it as the total value. Okay, the total bill, sorry. And if I just run this thing over here, so you are getting this swan plot over here. Now, what is the difference between this swan plot and this strip plot over here? So if you just observe this thing over here, this dots or the points over here, so it has been arranged quite properly as compared to this strip plot over here. Okay, so this gives a better representation of the distribution of the values as compared to this strip plot over here. Okay, so over here you are just seeing this particular dots, they are not overlapping, as it is just overlapping in this case, that is a strip plot over here. Okay, so it just gives you a nice beautiful representation as compared to this strip plot when just consider with the distribution of the values over here. Okay, so you can just change up this thing. So what I will simply do over here is that let's change up this column name. So I will just say that day with respect to the say tip. Okay, and if I just run this thing, so you can just see this thing. Okay, so these are my day on the x-axis, and these are nothing but my tips on the y-axis over here. And you can just observe this thing. Okay, so on Thursday it is round about this over here. Okay, so we got this tip on Thursday this much. Then on the Friday you can just observe. Okay, then on Saturday you can just observe that we got the maximum tip on Saturday, and you can just see this Sunday as well. Okay, and similarly you can just pass here hue as well. So I will just say that HUE is equal to, and let's say take it as sex over here. Okay, and now you can just observe this thing. Okay, so this gives you a much detailed representation of whatever the data you just want to visualize your thing. So you can see that on the x-axis we have this day, and on the y-axis we have tip. And on Thursday you can just observe that this orange colors just denotes the females. So this females gives this many of tips, and the males give this many of tips on Thursday. And you can see on Saturday you can just see that this number of males are more, those are just giving the tips over here. So that thing you can just visualize this thing. So you can just visualize this thing from the graph that what is happening, the males are just giving the more number of tips as compared to the females over here. Okay, so this is all about the swan plot over here. So we'll just do a quick recap over here that what we just studied over here. So we studied about the categorical plots, and I already told you guys that what is been my categorical plots are nothing but the columns that are non-numeric. Okay, and the types of categorical plots are nothing but the first one that we saw was the bar plot over here. Okay, so this was about the bar plot, and we even saw that the estimator argument over here. So the estimator by default it is set to the mean over here, and if you just want to go with the another estimator such as the median or the standard deviation over here, so for that purpose we need to just import our numpy library over here, and that we saw with respect to this bar plot over here. Then we saw about the count plot over here. So in the count plot, what I just told you guys that it is just counting the number of occurrence. Okay, the estimator is explicitly just counting the number of occurrences. So over here we just pass the single data over here, so that we have seen that over the x-axis we have taken this gender over here, and we have on the y-axis it automatically takes the count. Okay, and we once saw about this hue argument over here. So the next plot that we saw about is the box plot and the violin plot over here. So we saw that what is meant by the box plot and what is the violin plot over here, this outliners, and even I told you guys about the percentile over here. Okay, then the next plot that we plot about is the strip plot over here. Okay, so we are saying that it is the scattered plot only, but the difference over here with respect to the swan plot is that here the dots are getting overlapped. Okay, so it does somewhat doesn't gives you a nice representation when compared with this swan plot over here. Okay, so this was all about the categorical plots in this lecture. So I hope that you have understood with this thing. So if you just like this video, so hit the like button and do subscribe to our channel, and see you in the next video.